Hi guys, how are you? This is Ali from Medicine Made Easy. Thank you for watching my YouTube. I'm trying to make a YouTube like once a week, sometimes more than that. Forgive me if I'm late a little bit on you guys. Thank you for your support and your subscription. I really appreciate that. I feel I have kinda some sort of knowledge and I would like to share it with you. So so stay tuned for my YouTubes. Today, we will talk about an important subject, childhood immunizations. I was thinking about talking about immunizations in general, but then I said, let me talk about only childhood immunizations, the schedule, and tell you about some clinical notes I learned from my rotations and also from studying, and we can share the information with you. So it is important to know the childhood immunizations when you have your pediatric rotation, whether in a hospital or in an office. I think it's more if you have your clinical rotation in an office, because visits for immunizations usually is as an outpatient visit. So let's talk about it. At birth, the only immunization or the only vaccine that the child receive is hepatitis B. Some countries they give BCG, Bacillus calmette-guerin, which protect against tuberculosis, but not in the United States. In the United States, the child or the baby, newborn, received receive hepatitis B vaccine before leaving the hospital while they are in the nursery or in the NICU. And as you know, hepatitis B protect against hepatitis B vaccine protect against hepatitis B, which used to be the main cause of chronic hepatitis, cirrhosis, and hepatic cancer. Not anymore. It gives a lifelong immunity if 3 doses of hepatitis B received. And we will come at the schedule of those doses later in our PowerPoint presentation. At 2 months old, actually, the child can visit the pediatrician before that, like at 1 month old, at 4 weeks old. We will come to this because hepatitis B, the second dose, can be given on a range of time between 4 weeks old and 8 weeks old. Okay, so at 1 or 2 months old, we can give the second dose of hepatitis B. But at 2 months old, we start with rotavirus. And as you know, rotavirus is the main cause of diarrhea in children below 2 years old. So it's very important for them to receive rotavirus vaccine. Also, they receive DTaP, first dose of DTaP, uppercase D. Start with uppercase D. This the kind of vaccine that protect against diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. And this is different than the one given for children, older children above 7-year-old or adolescents or adults. The other one is actually start with uppercase T, Tdap. Is different than this one. They start with uppercase D, DTaP. So DTaP, the one that we're talking about right now, is given to children below 7-year-old. Put this in your mind. It's very important. It comes in the questions, whether at the end of rotation or at the PANS. Then we have HIB, which is H. influenzae type B, Haemophilus influenzae type B. And as you know, Haemophilus influenzae is used to be the main cause of epiglottitis. Not anymore due to the vaccine. And sometimes in the questions they said, if you get an unvaccinated or unimmunized child with signs and symptoms of epiglottitis, what kind of bacteria you think is H. influenzae? Okay, this is very important to know. PCV 13, pneumococcal vaccine 13. That's actually an important one to take. And there is another one, PCV 23. That 23, we usually don't give it to children, usually given to adults. Okay? And is the PCV 13 also given to adults? Yes. The adults can receive both 13 and 23. What about IPV? IPV comes after that. IPV is inactivated polio vaccine. That given oral. So rotavirus and IPV both are given oral. The others are all given intramuscular. Okay, so this is 2 months old. Let's jump to 4 months old. 4 months old, the patient will receive the second dose of rotavirus, second dose of DTaP, second dose of HIB, second dose of PCV13, which is pneumococcal vaccine 13, and IPV, inactivated polio vaccine. So this is the second dose of each one of these vaccines will be received in 4 months old. At 6 months old, the child will receive his third dose of rotavirus, third dose of DTaP, third dose of HIB, third dose of PCV13, and also will receive the IPV, the polio, and the hepatitis B. And I put those vaccines, the age, the range of the age between brackets, because it's not really mandatory to get the vaccines at 6 months old for the IPV and hepatitis B. Both of them, they have a wide range for giving the third dose. As you see in the previous slides, the IPV, the polio vaccine, has been received twice so far, at 2 months old and 4 months old. But the third dose, it's okay to give it between 6 and 18 months old. For hepatitis B, as you remember, guys, the first dose was inside the hospital before, at birth, before the baby leave the hospital. The second dose was either at 1 month old or 2 months old. Okay, there was a range also for the second dose. The third dose can be given starting at 6 months old, but there is also a wide range of time, so we can give it between 6 and 18 months old too. At 12 months old, very important visit, 1 year old, the patient will receive the fourth dose of Haemophilus influenzae type B, and as you notice here, also HIB, the fourth dose is not necessarily to be received at 1 year old. It can be received between 12 and 15 months old. The same thing applied for pneumococcal vaccine, also between 12 and 15 months old. And also the same will apply on MMR. MMR, this is the first dose. We do not give MMR to a child below 1 year old. This is very important. You will see it at the exams. They mention that on the age of the child and when we're going to give him the MMR. MMR stands for measles, mumps, and rubella. Okay, and should be given, the first dose should be given between 12 and 15 months old. And actually, MMR has 2 doses. Yes, is also special, has 2 doses, not only 1 dose. As we said, the first dose is between 12 and 15 months old, but never below 1 year old. Okay, put this in your mind. Varicella also 2 doses. First dose given also just like MMR, given at 12 to 15 months old. Varicella can protect, as you know, against chickenpox. Okay, chickenpox and the future shingles. Okay, and we have a new vaccine mentioned here is hepatitis A. Hepatitis A usually given at age of also a wide range is between 12 and 24 months old. So 1 to 2 year old. Okay, between 1 year and 2 year old, we give hepatitis A. Hepatitis A, as you know, guys, it to protect from hepatitis A disease. That's is not so severe like hepatitis B, but it can have an acute, kind of lethal acute phase of hepatitis, but not as a chronic, and not as a severe chronic with complications like hepatitis B. Anyway, we need to protect the children from it, so we give hepatitis A at age 12 to 24 months. Okay, and and you notice, guys, I didn't mention the hepatitis B or the polio at 12 months old. Why? Because you notice at the previous slide, we mentioned both of them and we said both of them can be given in a wide range of time between 6 and 18 months old. Hepatitis B and the polio can be given on a wide range of time. So this gives some flexibility in giving the vaccine. So we don't need to give the whole vaccines on the same visit. Is that clear, guys? Some parents, they don't want their kids to receive all the vaccines or multiple shots at the same visit. So there is some flexibility with some of the vaccine. So we can, for example, put more shots during the, like, in a 1 month from now, from this visit, or 2 weeks, whatever. Make the shots on multiple visits, make the parents happy and everybody happy. Then we come to 15 to 18 months old. 15 to 18 months old, this visit is only for DTaP. Remember, guys, we didn't mention the DTaP we mention it as 2 months old, 4 months old, and 6 months old. We did not mention it at 12 months old. Why? Because in the fourth dose, usually we don't give it at 12, at 1 year old. We give it after that. We give it at 15 to 18 months old. That's peculiar about DTaP. And this is actually the last dose of DTaP before the booster doses. Okay, so we will come to the booster doses later. So we have a note here that the child need an influenza vaccine every single year, okay, and we might give the child 2 doses of influenza, okay, and yearly influenza vaccine can be given for every child 6 months or older, okay, and usually we give the children 2 doses of influenza vaccine until they turn, I think, 6 year old. After that, they got only 1 dose of influenza vaccine every year, just like adults. This is also special for children. Then at 4 to 6 year old, which is actually the time the child will be starting school, the child will need DTaP, which is DTaP is the first booster dose of DTaP. So far the child received 4 doses, and this is the 5th dose, or the considered a booster dose for DTaP. And also he will receive IPV, which is the polio, okay, and receive the MMR, okay. This is the 2nd dose of MMR. If you remember, MMR has been received first time when the child was 12 to 15 months old. Also varicella, same thing, has been received at age of 12 to 15 months old. The 2nd dose of MMR and varicella will be received before getting into school between 4 and 6 year old. This is important. And there is a note here, I think we mentioned that before, a booster dose of Tdap, uppercase T, that should be given to children above 7 year old, or to adults, to adolescents. A booster dose of Tdap need to be given every 10 years after the dose at 4 to 6-year-old. So totally, we give the patient 1, 2, 3, 4. We give the patient 5 doses of DTaP, okay? And then will be followed by booster doses of Tdap, uppercase T, every 10 years to protect, to give a lifetime, every 10 years should be, to give protection against, as we said, diphtheria, tetanus, and pertussis. Let's come to some clinical notes. I tried to put as much as I know in this slide, and let me know, guys, if you know more, you can share in the comment section. This is why we make the YouTubes, to share information between each other. And if you have something, if you know something, please share it with me and share it with others. So if you like the video, share it with others. So all of us will know more than what we know now, you know? So let's come to the notes. Sorry, I put the writings is kind of so small. I tried to put all of them in one slide. So if a child misses a shot, that's very important to tell the parents. If a child misses a shot, no need to start over. Just come. When you remember, come, and we will continue with the schedule. 2 doses of influenza vaccine needed for children between 6 months and 8-year-old. As you remember, guys, we talk about influenza vaccine given for children when they turn 6 months old, okay, and every year. So what's special about that, that for children, we give 2 doses every year until they turn 8-year-old. Maybe I mentioned 6-year-old before. Forgive me, guys. It's 8-year-old. So between 6 months and 8-year-old, we give 2 doses of influenza vaccine. Now we come to a special kind of influenza vaccine called intranasal influenza vaccine. Okay, this is only can be given to immunocompetent children. Why? Because this is a live attenuated kind of vaccine. So if the patient is immunocompromised, that's not good. They might get sick. Okay, so we give it only to immunocompetent children, and the intranasal vaccine only for children. We do not give it to adults. 2 doses of hepatitis A. Remember, guys, we mentioned hepatitis A, the patient or the child will receive it between 12 and 24 months old, between 1 year and 2-year-old. We mentioned only 1 dose. It's actually 2 doses for hepatitis A needed for full protection. First dose between 1 and 2-year-old. Second dose is 6 months after the first dose. Okay, put this in your mind. All children and adolescents above 2-year-old who did not get vaccinated for hepatitis A before need to receive 2 doses of hepatitis A vaccine. So even if the child, for example, they forgot to give him hepatitis A when he turned 2-year-old or 1-year-old or 2-year-old, okay, or after that, it's okay. When we discover that the child, he did not receive hepatitis A vaccines before, we start giving him 2 doses, okay? 1 dose at 0 time, like the time we start, and then another dose 6 months after the first dose. Simple. Vaccines can lead to signs and symptoms sometimes as side effects or complications. For example, I'll give some examples here. And if you know more, guys, please let me know. It's very important to know what the side effects of some of the vaccines. For example, polio oral vaccine can cause paralytic ileus. DTaP vaccine can cause whole limb swelling. Okay, and varicella or influenza vaccine can cause fever and malaise, especially varicella. Varicella is a very potent kind of vaccine. Why? We mentioned that before, I think. If you didn't mention it, we will mention it now. Varicella is considered a live vaccine. So we do not give varicella to immunocompromised patients. And if we give it even to immunocompetent patient, we should let them know that varicella might lead to side effects like fever and malaise. Some countries, I think we mentioned that before, some countries give BCG vaccine at birth to protect against tuberculosis. And this receiving of BCG vaccine might lead to false positive PPD test. Okay, patient come for PPD test, and we notice it's positive. Okay, why it's positive? Patient is not sick, no signs, no symptoms, no chest X-ray is clear. It might be because the patient received BCG vaccine when he or she were child, and that happened actually to me. I received BCG vaccine in my country when I was child, and my PPD was positive. And then they had to, what is the solution for this? It's not considered a latent tuberculosis. They should do a quantiferon test. If the quantiferon test is positive, this is kind of latent TB. But if the quantiferon test is negative, that means this is because of the BCG. Okay. Thank you so much, guys. I think I didn't make you bored or wait long time to finish the slides. Thank you for watching my YouTube and my slides. I appreciate. I'll try to put thank you slide here in all languages. I might forget some languages. Maybe, oh, I forgot my own language, the Arabic one. So in Arabic, we say shukran, and this is thank you slide for all of you. Please, if you know more than what I put in the slides, put in the comment section, subscribe, share my slide with others. Thank you again for watching. Good luck in your studying, in your career. Bye now.